Let me ask you a question. And it's a question that most people never think about. But this question is, who are you? When I ask people the question, who are you? People will say things, well, I'm an American, or I am a Texan, or a Wyoming, or I'm a college graduate, or a Wyomingian, not a Wyoming, but a Wyomingian. People will say I'm XYZ. What most people never recognize is when you say you are something, what you're saying is that you are that identity. And what I want to share with you is that whatever you have in life right now, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you have, your money, your health, your wellness, your relationships, everything you have in your life is a 100% reflection of your unconscious identity. So the next thing that is vital for you to understand, and when I say vital, when you get this, it'll make perfect sense, and I'll give you some examples, is that you cannot outperform your unconscious identity. Whatever you are at an unconscious level and whatever your identity is what you do automatically. So let me give you some examples here. Let's say that you are very prevalent. Let's say you're a smoker. Well, guess what? You smoke because you are a smoker. If you are a non-smoker at your identity level, you do not do the behavior. Now let me tie that to actually outcomes, as I alluded to. If your identity is at the unconscious level, let's say that you grew up poor, and your identity is that money's hard to come by and we're never going to be like that, only rich people have that, and that's your identity, you're not going to be able to outperform that identity. So let me give you a couple of great examples here of how the unconscious identity drives us. If we look, for example, at Mike Tyson, I did some research. I think Mike Tyson won something like $330 million in his career, yet today, Mike Tyson is broke. Why? Because in his external environment, he made all of this money, but yet at his identity level, he was broke. Therefore, he went back and his life corresponds to his identity. Understand that is that your life, my life, it corresponds to our identity. On the flip side, let's look at Donald Trump. I used to speak at the same events as Donald Trump, and one day I heard him say, I was kind of passing through the hall, and I heard him say that in 1992 he was so broke, he was walking the streets of New York, saw a homeless person, and he thought, you know what, that person has more money than I do because I'm $2.9 billion in debt, and that guy's only broke. So Trump was obviously deeply in debt, but years later he's a billionaire again. Why? Because even though his external environment changed, his internal environment was always actually that of a billionaire. So here's what I think it's vital that you understand, is whatever your identity is, you can never outperform that. So if your identity, which I alluded to earlier, is being broke, no matter what you try to do or how much you try to work or build businesses or whatever, you will never exceed whatever that money identity is that you have. Let me ask you, how many business opportunities, how many business coaches, how many YouTube videos, magazines, seminars, webinars, how many things have you gone to, been to, listened to, done, trying to actually make more money in life? And have you noticed, if you're like most people, you go to all these events, but things, they might change for a little bit, but ultimately you go right back to the old behavior again, just like Mike Tyson. And if you're doing that, you're what I call the wandering seeker, is that you're wandering and you're looking and you're seeking things, but yet you still haven't found the solution to actually get you to where you want to go. Let me go somewhere else with that for a second, is that, and I'm going to shoot another video on this later, but many of you, what you're trying to do is you're trying to go do things to create the money that you want, and you're working backwards. Because if what you're trying to do is not consistent with your identity, then what you're trying to do is not going to be successful. So instead of trying to do things to get ahead, what you do want to do, because you want to do something, is you want to actually transform your unconscious identity. And instead of actually operating on autopilot, which if you followed me or you've seen any of my videos or any of my audios or any of my podcasts or anything anywhere, you know that I tell people to stop doing things and start being things. So the question that I have for you to eliminate all the hardship and all the problems and all the challenges in your life is what ways do you need to be at the identity level to create the outcomes that you want. What's obvious at this point is if you want more in life, stop trying to do things and start being at the identity level exactly what it is that you want to be, and it happens automatically. So the first thing to, even though we're talking about doing, the first thing to do is go over to my podcast, click the link, go over, and I'm going to dig deeper into actually how to start transforming your unconscious identity.